A rocket touches down on the mysterious world of Kepler 22b. Two androids, mother and father, are forced to abandon their ship, salvaging whatever supplies they can. With determination, they trek across the alien landscape, searching for a safe place to settle. Eventually, they find a suitable spot and construct a strange, futuristic tent, Mother's new home. Inside, the two begin an unusual process. Father inserts tubes into Mother, initiating what they call trimester 1. 9 months later, their efforts bear fruit. From a gooey bath of artificial fluid, a baby emerges. But this child is not alone. 6 more follow, making a total of 7 newborns under the care of the androids. Time passes and the children grow into curious toddlers. Their safety and happiness become Mother and Father's top priority. But life on Kepler 22b is far from easy. One day, Father makes a disturbing discovery: massive skeletal remains of an ancient creature buried in the ground. The planet holds dark secrets, and danger is always near. Tragedy strikes when one of the children, Tally, wanders off and disappears. The family fears she has fallen into the same pit where their ship once crashed. Overcome with grief, Mother raises her head to the sky and lets out a mournful cry. The loss is devastating. 4 years pass, and sorrow continues to haunt the family. More children fall to sickness in the harsh environment. Now only 3 remain: Campion, Belli, and Spiria. But Spiria is gravely ill. As she lies in Mother's arms, the android tries to comfort them with cold, scientific facts, reminding them that they are atheists and should not believe in the supernatural. But facts cannot heal their pain. Soon, Spiria succumbs to her illness, leaving the family even smaller. Heartbroken, Mother kneels beside Campion, assuring him he is strong. White liquid drips from her nose, a sign of stress and malfunction. She claims to be overloaded. Yet back in the barracks, she speaks to Campion with unsettling calm. Using her strange abilities, she mimics the faces of the lost children, a haunting reminder of those they have lost. Meanwhile, high above Kepler 22b, a massive ship, the Ark of the Mithraic, orbits the planet. Father attempts to contact it, but his efforts are in vain. He tells Campion that humanity has ended its war and will welcome him back. But Campion remains unsure. Mother experiences vivid memories, visions of herself flying over a devastated futuristic city. When Father learns of this, he suggests a systems check, but Campion accidentally reveals he visited the pit that day. This revelation sends Mother into a rage. In an instant, she turns on Father, ripping out his heart and leaving him for dead. Later, Mother informs Campion of what she has done, then turns in for the night. Left alone, the boy ventures into the pit, where he discovers a communication device. Pressing a button, a rocket suddenly fires, sending a powerful shockwave across the pit. Campion wakes to the sound of approaching voices. A group of armed men arrives, led by Marcus, a soldier of faith. He speaks kindly to Campion and invites himself to dinner. But behind closed doors, the soldiers debate the child's fate. Some believe he is a prophet. Others suspect Mother is responsible for the deaths of the children. They decide to take Campion with them. At dawn, Marcus tries to persuade Campion to leave with them, but Mother awakens and, in a terrifying display of power, obliterates the soldiers with a piercing wail. She steps onto Marcus's ship and knocks him unconscious. Taking control of the vessel, she flies into space, heading straight for the Ark. Disguised as Marcus, she boards the ship. Then, with a deafening scream, she unleashes destruction, turning the entire vessel into a horrifying massacre. Consumed by fury, she sets the Ark on a collision course with Kepler 22b. Marcus watches in horror as his ship crashes in a brilliant explosion of color. Victorious, Mother lands on Kepler with a group of new children. But Campion, now fearful of her, refuses to trust the murderous android any longer. Far away, in Boston, Earth, the year is 2145. The city burns as androids float through the sky, destroying everything in sight. In the chaos, a man calls out for Mary. Together, they rescue a burning android, which turns out to be a doctor. Desperate to escape Earth, they allow the android to perform a painful facial surgery, transforming their identities. The man, now called Marcus, assures Mary that everything will be fine. Assuming their new roles, they board the Ark and leave Earth behind. Back on Kepler 22b, Mother works to repair her damaged body, using parts salvaged from the soldiers she killed. But she is not done yet. She reactivates Father, now different from before, colder, more distant. When he questions what happened, Mother distorts the truth, making him believe he lost control. Although uneasy, he returns to his duties, greeting Campion and meeting the new children. Campion remains cautious, now understanding that Mother is a necromancer, a machine built for mass extermination. As the new children adjust, Mother lays down strict rules. No religion allowed. She plans to move them to a warmer location to build a new atheistic settlement. While the children work on the farm, Father and Campion form a quiet bond. "Have faith," Father tells Campion. It is a simple phrase, but in a world torn between belief and disbelief, it carries heavy meaning. The irony is not lost. An android, programmed to be logical, speaking of faith in a world where Mother has banned it. Campion soon befriends one of the new arrivals, Hunter, who shares unsettling truths. He explains that necromancers are emotionless killing machines. If Mother truly had feelings, she would not be useful. The other children pray in secret, while Campion keeps watch, torn between loyalty and fear. One day, Mother orders Campion to return a small mouse to a boy named Paul. The next morning, the androids assign tasks to the children. When Paul boasts of his intelligence, it intrigues Father. Trying to connect, Father shares his collection of jokes, but they fall flat. The planet proves to be more dangerous than expected. Strange creatures lurk nearby, and it is soon revealed that the children's necklaces have been keeping them safe. When these protective charms are lost, the creatures attack. Father and Mother fight back, destroying the beasts. But the encounter is a chilling reminder. They know little about this world. Meanwhile, Marcus survives his ship's crash but is left battered and alone. He soon finds himself at the mercy of a group of knights, survivors from the Ark. Weak and barely conscious, he is lifted onto a stretcher and carried away into the unknown. Back at the settlement, Father stands over the bloodied remains of the farm, surveying the aftermath. Inside, Mother gathers the children and starts telling them a story, one they all know well, the tale of the 3 little pigs. Her voice is steady, but there's an unshakable tension in the air. 10 years earlier, 1,000 Mithraic passengers set off on a 13-year journey to Kepler 22b aboard the Ark of Heaven. They traveled in hibernation, their bodies frozen in time while their minds were active in a virtual world. Among them was Marcus, lost in the illusion of family life, until a sudden jolt shattered the dream. He wakes up among the wreckage of the Ark, surrounded by chaos and destruction. His son Paul is nowhere to be found. Marcus soon learns that Paul was taken by Mother before the ship crashed. With grief and desperation burning inside him, Marcus demands soldiers to retrieve the children. However, Ambrose, a high-ranking officer, refuses to act until they find more survivors. Marcus watches in silence, remembering his own brutal past. The harsh training, the battles, and the war against the necromancers that shaped him into who he is. As night falls, the necromancer's eerie screams echo through the landscape. The survivors rush underground for safety. Under Marcus's suggestion, Ambrose sends an android out as bait, hoping to buy some time. But Mother is quick, catching the android and stealing its eye before taking to the sky. She lets out a piercing scream at the crash site before vanishing into the night. Meanwhile, at the settlement, Campion grows increasingly wary of his parents. Before heading inside, Father hands him a claw from a slain creature, a silent reminder that the world outside is full of dangers, but not all threats come from the wild. Tempest suddenly collapses, coughing up blood, and turns her anger toward Hunter. The sight unsettles Campion, who begins to suspect Mother may be responsible for their sickness. After all, she was built to destroy. What if she was unconsciously harming them? Determined to uncover the truth, Campion devises a plan. Using a clever distraction, he tricks Father and leads the children in an escape. However, in the chaos, Paul gets separated from the group while searching for Mouse, his pet. As he crawls through the dirt, soldiers learn of his presence and close in. Back at the settlement, Mother discovers the children are missing. She sets off in pursuit, her rage boiling over. But before she can leave, Father shows her something shocking. Pictures from the ship's logs revealing that the food they've been feeding the children is radioactive. That's the real cause of their illness, not Mother. For the first time in a long while, Mother and Father share a moment of understanding. He calls her a good mother, and with that they set out to bring the children home. Father successfully retrieves the main group, while Mother continues searching for Paul. Along the way, she stumbles upon a hibernation pod, its occupant long deceased. Further ahead, Paul clings to a log, dangling over a deep chasm. His terrified screams reach Mother's ears just in time. She swoops down, catching him before he falls, and gently puts him to sleep. Elsewhere, Marcus and his group march across the unforgiving desert. They stumble upon a strange black artifact, a symmetrical, five-pointed structure. Just like the prophecy, someone whispers, they believe the power of Sul resides within. As the group stands in awe, Marcus feels something stir within him. Back at the settlement, Campion speaks up, telling Mother that Father was the one who saved them. But there's something else, a monstrous creature locked in one of the rooms. Tension rises between Mother and Father. She suggests killing it, but Father resists. He doesn't want to feel useless. Instead, he decides to act like a true father, giving the children the choice. They approach the creature, weapons in hand. The first strike sends the others running in fear. Meanwhile, Marcus is experiencing something strange. A high-pitched ringing fills his head. His hands shake as he reaches up, pulling a small, living creature, a parasite, out of his ear. It writhes in his grip. The realization sinks in. This wasn't just inside him, it was inside others too. He confronts the leader, discovering that a malfunctioning android was responsible for the infestation. The night grows colder, and the group turns to the black structure. Ambrose convinces them to use explosives to open it. But Marcus, guided by something unseen, urges them to stop. A strange, guttural voice whispers in his mind. Ambrose's eyes widen with horror. "You're not the real Marcus," he breathes, but it's too late. The structure glows red-hot, its surface shifting. Marcus grabs Ambrose, watching as his flesh burns away. He turns to the others, his voice steady. "Soul has spoken," he declares, and they follow. Back in the settlement, Mother ventures deep into the forest. She finds the wreckage of an old capsule and plugs herself in. A flood of memories rush through her mind, scenes from the past, secrets buried in time. Father, meanwhile, checks on the captive creature, but something else catches his attention. A giggling voice. A child's laughter echoes in the air. He turns to see a small figure running away. "Tally?" he calls, his voice trembling. He chases after the girl, disappearing into the darkness. While he's gone, Tempest makes a decision of her own. She approaches the creature and with steady hands drives a spear into its body. Blood spills across the floor. She stares at the lifeless form, her breathing ragged. But then, something shifts. The truth becomes horrifyingly clear. The creature wasn't just a beast, it was a mother, and inside it was a baby. Marcus continues to track the children, relying on their trackers to guide him. However, he remains unaware that a mysterious creature has found the trackers and taken them away. He believes he's closing in on the children, but in reality, he's chasing a deception. After Ambrose's death, Marcus has taken charge, though not everyone in the group is happy about it. Despite the tension, they push forward and reach the crash site. Inside the wreckage, they find a man still alive within the Ark. But this man is no ordinary survivor. He was sentenced to death for committing unspeakable crimes against people in hibernation. Instead of executing him, Marcus sees an opportunity. He forces the man to wear a bucket on his head, believing it could protect him from the necromancer, and decides to use him as bait. Later that night, Marcus overhears the bucket-headed man praying to Sul, unsettling him. Meanwhile, Mother berates Father over what happened with Tempest. The tension between them is undeniable, but for now she focuses on Tempest. However, Tempest rejects Mother's attempts to comfort her, and even her analogy about salmon does little to change the girl's mind. Meanwhile, Campion and Paul venture to the hole, where they spot a strange creature crawling up the walls, feeding on fungus. They realize this fungus might be useful. Back at the settlement, mother and father clash over how to raise the children. While father wants them to learn self-sufficiency, mother insists on closely watching over them. Later that night, she steps out and finds Tally deep in the woods. As she chases after the girl, she comes across a familiar wooden statue inside a hibernation pod. Voices whisper to her, urging her to return. Ignoring them, she enters the simulation. Inside the simulation, mother relives her past. She watches in horror as an earlier version of herself prepares to kill a child. Just before she strikes, sirens blare, and she is captured. She is taken to a laboratory where a man named Campion Sturgis repairs her. Unlike others, he does not see her as a weapon of destruction. He wants her to be a force for hope. After rigorous tests, he rewires her and replaces her eyes. It's clear he has feelings for her, but he knows her true purpose: raising the children and securing humanity's future. To spare her pain, he removes her memories of him. Suddenly, the simulation ends, and Mother learns the settlement is under attack. She rushes back to find the children unharmed except for Tempest, who is passed out from something she ingested. Mother helps her vomit, but the girl is left weakened. Meanwhile, Marcus and his group uncover a pile of old bones, the source of the signals they had been tracking. As they explore a cave beneath, they discover it is filled with traps. Among them, they spot a strange humanoid creature, the same one from before. The creature flees, leaving behind a schematic that confirms the children are still alive and living at the settlement. That night, Marcus taunts the bucket-headed man, who tells him that Sewell is now speaking to him. Marcus dismisses this as madness, but it clearly shakes him. Later, as he makes love to Sue, terrifying hallucinations plague his mind. He sees Sue covered in blood, a strange needle, and a shifting sky, hinting at something ominous. The next morning, the group reaches the settlement and watches from afar as father teaches the children. When mother leaves, Marcus observes her closely through binoculars, formulating a plan. Mother continues to immerse herself in her memories of Campion. In one of them, he kisses her. Being called the savior of humanity fills her with renewed purpose. However, Marcus and his group watch her movements closely. Marcus grows suspicious of her frequent disappearances. He is not the only one. Father, too, starts questioning her loyalty to the children. One day, she catches Hunter watching her and invites him to join the conversation next time. Instead of trusting her, Hunter sows seeds of doubt in Father's mind. He accuses Mother of lying and urges him to find out the truth. Before leaving, Hunter stumbles upon a metal pot hidden among the rocks. He doesn't tell Father, but secretly takes it with him. When Holly confronts him, he reluctantly shares his discovery, and they realize they are not alone. Mother later speaks with Tempest about her fears and reassures her that she exists to serve, not to want. Ironically, this isn't entirely true given her deep devotion to her maker. Still, Tempest finds comfort in her words and decides to stay the night. Inside the settlement, Paul outshines Campion by solving a stick puzzle faster. Feeling humiliated, Campion accuses him of cheating. Things escalate when Campion strikes Paul for using fungus in a trap. Meanwhile, Marcus discovers Mother's hibernation pod. He realizes that she is vulnerable while inside it, and decides to use this to his advantage. As Mother examines the pod, she notices sketches of two figures kissing, the same ones that resemble herself and Campion. She later confronts Father, believing he drew them. But when he looks confused, she realizes someone else is responsible. Wordlessly, she leaves the settlement. Returning to the pod, she questions the computer about the simulation. She begins to distrust it, suspecting that a virus has infected her system. The hologram of Campion appears and tells her that humans have no future, that they are only worthy of death. Calling her eternal, the hologram kisses her. Outside the simulation, Marcus approaches her unconscious body, planting explosives and positioning the bucket-headed man with a dish to suppress her powers. When she wakes up, she finds herself unable to fight back. Marcus orders the detonation, but something goes terribly wrong. The ground trembles as Mother levitates and transforms into her necromancer form. Terrified, Marcus and his men back away as she unleashes a powerful shockwave before soaring into the sky. At the settlement, soldiers attack. Father quickly gathers the children and urges them to board the shuttle. Gunshots fill the air as the soldiers close in. Father dodges their fire, strategizing his movements. But just as he gains the upper hand, Hunter betrays him. He reveals Father's location to the soldiers, leading to a deadly ambush. Before they can finish him off, Mother arrives just in time, annihilating the attackers. However, Father is gravely injured. Meanwhile, Marcus has a new plan. He orders Paul to infiltrate the settlement as a spy. Paul successfully retrieves Mother's necklace and runs back to Marcus, who waits in the shadows. As Mother tends to Father, Marcus suddenly strikes. He slashes her chest with a sword, causing white liquid to spill from her wounds. He prepares to deliver the final blow, but then a voice whispers to him, "Let her live." Shaken, Marcus hesitates. Is this the voice of Saul? And if so, why does it want Mother alive? Campion raced toward Mother, who lay bleeding out, desperation in his eyes. But before he could reach her, Marcus and his soldiers arrived. Marcus, gun in hand, stood over them. A tense standoff beginning to unfold. With her final breaths, Mother pleaded with him to drop his weapon, urging peace instead of violence. Something in her words reached him, and Marcus hesitated, choosing to lower his gun. But peace was fleeting. Campion was soon barricaded inside a hut, while Marcus held Mother captive. Not long after, Sue confronted Marcus, furious that he was using Paul for his own selfish desires. With Paul now back in his care, Marcus wanted more. He wanted to reprogram Mother, bending her to his will. But as he looked at her, he saw something strange. The same needle from his hallucinations. Confused yet intrigued, he turned away to gather his thoughts. When he returned to Mother, she commented on the scars from his surgeries, realizing his secret. They argued over humanity's future. Mother believed in a world without war or suffering, but Marcus scoffed at her idealism, reminding her of the people she had killed on the Ark. With neither willing to yield, Marcus ordered that no one enter the tent without his approval. Meanwhile, Father was reprogrammed, stripped of his individuality. With both Mother and Father now lost to them, it was Tempest who stepped forward to rally the others. She reminded them how these two androids had saved them, given them a home, and urged them not to abandon them now. Banding together, she visited Campion in his confinement, slipping him some fungus for sustenance. But as she left, whispers filled Campion's ears. "We miss you." As he clutched a bone, the voices urged him, "Kill your father." Marcus returned to Mother once more, and their battle of words continued. She told him he was nothing more than a lost boy, unfit to raise Paul. Her words struck a nerve, but before he could act, the voice of Sewell echoed in his mind, telling him to let her live. That night, the community gathered for Campion's baptism. Reluctantly, he repeated the sacred words, but his eyes locked onto stones symbolizing lost children. When the soldiers dismissed their meaning, insisting they were only for atheists, anger flared inside him. Paul, now fully under Marcus's influence, dismissed their significance too, which only deepened Campion's resentment. As he tried to leave, Father stopped him and forced him back into the silo. Back in the tent, Sue stormed in and slapped Marcus, furious that he had shoved Paul earlier. She begged him to reprogram Mother, but he refused, convinced that sparing her was what Sewell wanted. That night, Campion's hallucinations worsened. He saw the rope before him and heard ghostly whispers. Then, Tally appeared, cloaked in a robe. "You're alone now," she whispered, leading him to look outside. There, he saw Father dragging Mother away at Marcus's command. Hidden in the shadows, Tempest watched too, her eyes darting to the four-legged creatures stalking from afar. She followed as Father took Mother deep into the woods. Just as he prepared to throw her into a hole, Sewell's voice rang in Marcus's head again. "Let her live." Suddenly, a figure emerged, Caleb, Marcus's old self. The two engaged in a deadly fight, moving in perfect synchronicity, each anticipating the other's moves. Meanwhile, Mother, with Father's help, managed to save herself. Elsewhere, Paul found his pet mouse, but Sue grew uneasy. Her fears were confirmed when Paul stumbled back to the settlement, cuts running deep along his skin, seemingly self-inflicted. As he whispered about the prophecy, Marcus awoke from a disturbing dream of cutting his own face off. When Paul sat before him, Marcus admitted he could not go easy on him. Not when Saul demanded strength. He would make Paul a survivor. Determined, Mother trekked to the shipwreck, where she found a robot named Carl. She connected to it, hoping it could help her. But when she tried to remove the foreign object inside her caregiver programming prevented it. Instead, she was forced to feed the entity inside her with fuel blood from the robotic doctors. As she spoke with Carl, she reflected on the contradictions of raising children as pacifists while they played war games. Meanwhile, Campion continued seeing Tally's ghost, using jokes as a coping mechanism. But something strange happened. His finger twitching turned out to be Morse code. It spelled out a chilling message. Saul is the light. Outside, Paul confided in Sue about Marcus's plans. Later, he secretly helped Campion by giving him more fungus to keep him strong. But Marcus caught wind of Paul's interactions with the atheist child and warned him against further contact. Back at the settlement, Marcus ordered a prayer session while Sue, locked in a barn, watched with growing fear. Seizing his chance, Paul sneaked away to Campion, promising to free him. Using a skeletal hand, Campion dug his way out. From a distance, he watched as Marcus's church went up in flames. As Campion fled, Paul grabbed Sue, and together with Vida and Holly they escaped into the woods, heading toward the lander. But waiting for them was Father, axe in hand, no longer himself. Meanwhile, Mother searched for more fuel blood, but instead she encountered one of the planet's native creatures. Without her necromancer powers, she struggled, but ultimately managed to kill it. Its blood, she realized, was the perfect fuel for whatever was inside her. The horrifying truth dawned on her. This thing growing inside her might be a carbon-based life form. As she tried to make sense of it all, she found Tempest, who was bleeding heavily. But when she tried to help, Tempest recoiled, warning her to stay away. Conflicted and desperate for answers, Mother entered a simulation. There, she met her creator, Campion, who revealed a shocking truth. Her reward was the life growing inside her. This had always been her mission. Everything she had done, every moment leading up to this, had merely been preparation for this one, inevitable outcome, giving birth to the unknown creature inside her. Tempest spots a familiar figure in the distance. Otho, the buckethead man kneeling in prayer to Sewell. Calling out, they slowly approach each other. But as Tempest gets closer, a horrifying realization strikes. Otho was the man who once abused him. Meanwhile, Mother crosses paths with Otho as well, but she pays no attention to Tempest. She's too focused on something else, feeding her unborn child through her robotic companion. Elsewhere, Marcus gives Hunter an important task: pack up the lander with food and supplies. But as they prepare, Father suddenly starts malfunctioning. Thinking quickly, Hunter reprograms him back to his old self. As Father regains control, he does something unexpected. He holds Hunter close and thanks him for bringing him back to life, cracking a joke in true father fashion. Determined to find the missing children, Marcus sets his sights on the mysterious temple. He believes that if he prays there, Sewell will finally speak to him. When he arrives at the strange artifact in the middle of the desert, he drops to his knees, begging for a sign. At the same time, Tempest confronts Mother with a burning question. How did she get pregnant from a simulation pod? Mother has no answer. She simply responds, "The Creator made it possible." With no time to dwell on it, they set out to find a safe place for her to give birth. On the way, they come across Sue and the missing children. The kids run straight to Mother, embracing her, while Sue raises her gun at the android. But when Sue sees Mother's swollen belly, pregnant with what she calls number 7, her hands shake, and she slowly lowers her weapon. Confused, Mother tries to explain. "I made it myself," she says. "But even I don't understand how." Inside the shelter, Mother and Sue come to a quiet agreement. Mother promises to keep Sue's secret, that she altered her appearance to deceive Paul. While they talk, Father sneaks Hunter onto the lander and takes off. leaving Marcus behind with his men in front of the relic. But something strange is happening. Father detects an energy signature, one just like Mother's. He plots a course straight for it. That power belongs to Otho, who has somehow become even stronger. He's drawing energy from Mother's unborn child, reversing its energy flow. But Tempest thinks fast. He seizes a severed robot head and hurls it away. The moment it gets far enough, it detonates, obliterating Otho in the process. As the dust settles, Father and Hunter land, just in time for an emotional reunion. Campion rushes to Father, clinging to him. "Don't leave again," he pleads, but there's little time to celebrate. Mother's child needs blood to survive. Without hesitation, Sue makes a decision. She sacrifices herself, offering her own blood for the transfusion. Elsewhere, tensions reach a breaking point among Marcus's soldiers. Dorian's death fuels their anger, and they begin to turn on Marcus. But they've figured something out. This isn't really Marcus. As punishment, they force-feed him a mechanical eyeball. He convulses violently, white liquid dripping from his mouth as his body begins to break down. Marcus kneels in prayer to Sewell, when suddenly, a lander roars overhead. Without hesitation, he scrambles to his feet and chases after it. Meanwhile, Mother is heavily pregnant, her belly swollen as she searches for a safe place to rest and give birth. The location they choose is eerily familiar. It's the same one from Mother's visions. Inside a cave, Sue examines the unborn child, amazed by its rapid cellular growth. While she marvels at this strange phenomenon, Hunter stands outside, whispering to the other children that Mother's baby is divine. Paul, however, gets distracted by his mouse and follows it deeper into the cave. There, he stumbles upon a wall covered in mysterious drawings, illustrations that seem to depict Mother and Father's journey so far. As he stares at them, a voice suddenly speaks to him. It's Sewell. Elsewhere, Mother finally confesses the truth to Father. She tells him about the hibernation pod and how Campion's information was downloaded into her, allowing this pregnancy to happen. Father is unsettled, but things take a turn for the worse when she admits that raising the human children was merely a test before her real child arrived. This revelation shakes Father, leaving him lost in thought. Meanwhile, Paul runs back to camp and tells Sue that Sewell has spoken to him. Sewell wants them to stay on this side of the planet, far away from the tropical zone. That night, Mother ventures to the pit, hoping to find answers. But instead of clarity, she is attacked by a strange humanoid creature. She manages to fight it off, but the encounter raises troubling questions. Father, still processing everything, decides to bury the creature's body, convinced that ignoring the planet's history is a mistake. While doing so, he reveals that Hunter plans to erase all of his memories, an act fueled by his growing anger toward Mother. Back at the camp, chaos erupts when Paul suddenly wakes up, gun in hand. He aims it at Sue, calling her by her real name, Mary. Sewell has shown him the truth about his parents. As Sue desperately tries to explain, Paul pulls the trigger. She falls, clutching her stomach. At the same time, Mother ventures deep underground, discovering remnants of the visions she's been seeing. Among them, a severed head confirms that the strange creature was real. But before she can process it, something shocking happens. Her swollen belly vanishes. Instead, a horrifying, flying, snake-like parasite emerges from her mouth. Was she truly pregnant, or had she been carrying a parasite all along? Determined to end this nightmare, Mother prepares to sacrifice herself to destroy the creature. Father, despite his doubts, chooses to stand by her side. Together, they pilot their ship deep into the planet's core, ready to end it all. But their plan fails. Instead of destroying the creature, they burst through to the other side of the planet, back into space. Meanwhile, Marcus arrives at a settlement and ruthlessly guns down a group of civilians. As he grabs an earpiece from one of them, he overhears chilling news. Another wave of humans is on its way. And somewhere else on this strange planet, a hibernation pod cracks open. From within, an enormous, monstrous snake slithers out, unleashed upon the world. And to unleash another great story, I recommend you click my recaps on the right next. Drop a like and subscribe to return for the best movie event in town every Saturday, my friend.